Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be having my Six Flags 2021 predictions. Now you're probably wondering, why on earth would Six Flags actually add new additions even though that they've had an awful year? Some of their parks haven't even opened. They're all limited capacity and they've had a really bad year because of the pandemic. Here's why. When a theme park buys a roller coaster or a flat ride or a bigger addition, it's usually planned out far in advance, like 2-3 years in advance. And they usually start putting down payments on it. So they could have started paying for some of these coasters already. So I think they could be adding them very soon in 2021. I think most of these parks will be getting nothing. I think a couple parks might be getting a kids area, and there might be a couple flat rides because those are bigger additions. But there was a Screenscape article, which isn't exactly always reliable, but basically the rumor says that Six Flags is going to add a S&S air launch coaster by S&S, an RMC, and a Premier Rides. I could definitely see him doing this, so I'm going to stick to that pretty much in this video. So let's get into our first park. So for our first park, we have Six Flags Great Adventure and Safari, my home park. And originally I was kind of optimistic about this, thinking that maybe they could get the Premier coaster. But I'm not thinking so. They're getting Jersey Devil in 2021, and that Premier coaster would be awesome. But I just don't see them going with that. I think that they would or could use the Premier coaster in the future in their new DC themed area. It could duel right around the whole area, and it would look awesome. So I definitely hope they do that eventually. But I don't think 2021's the year. I was only saying this because the American Dream Mall just opened, and it was giving them some competition. So maybe they were going to go all out, new management, different theory. But I just don't see him doing that. So for this reason, I think Great Adventure will be getting a new kids area. I think this kids area could be very much like the one at Six Flags Over Georgia. Bugs Bunny Boomtown, DC Super Friends. They could really use it. So yeah, so let's get on to our next park now. So the next park on the list is Six Flags Mexico, and this park actually brings in some big attendance. So I do actually think they will be getting something. And they haven't gotten a new coaster in a while, since Medusa, or they might have gotten something else, I'm not exactly sure. So I will be thinking that they're getting a coaster. So now let's think what's a good coaster, the S&S, the RMC, or the Premier Rides. They could definitely use a launch coaster very similar to a Premier Rides, like Skyrocket 2, something like that. It might be small, or it could be something like West Coast Racers. So I think Six Flags Mexico will be getting the Premier Rides. Whatever it is, the Premier Rides, dueling coaster, Mobius Loop, whatever you want to call it, I think they will be getting it. So now, our next park, La Ronde in Canada. They will be getting Viper, a relocated Zag Spin from Magic Mountain. And I see them getting absolutely nothing. They're not getting anything. So, yeah. So, our next park, Six Flags Fiesta Texas. I could see them getting a couple of family rides. Six Flags really likes this park, so I could see a couple of family rides, but a very small addition. They might have started to make down payments on this. So that's Six Flags Fiesta Texas. There's not really much to talk about there. I think they could go with maybe one of the Catwoman's whip things, something similar to that, but not super much to talk about. So while we're in Texas, let's get the other Texas part out of the way. Six Flags Over Texas, I think we'll be getting nothing. They're getting a mock Power Splash next year, which was originally meant for this year. So I just don't see them actually getting anything. So, yeah, as you can see, it's not great right now, but Six Flags Mexico could be getting that Premier Rides coaster, which would be kind of cool. But most of these parks aren't getting that many big additions. So let's get into our next park. While we're over by Texas, let's head up to Frontier City in Oklahoma City, and let's predict what they're getting. This park hasn't gotten a coaster in a while, but is this really the year for them during a pandemic? I don't think so, and their attendance isn't the largest. So I just don't see a coaster like an S&S air launch coaster similar to like Max Force going to this type of park yet. But I do think they will actually get something. I could see them definitely going with a Sky Screamer. I don't think they have that. They could definitely use that. So for 2021, I will be predicting a Sky Screamer. So now let's head up all the way in the north and knock out the two New York parks, Great Escape and Darien Lake. So for Great Escape, I was leaning towards absolutely nothing, but I feel like they haven't expanded their kids area in a while, and that's something that a park might have made a down payment on. So I could definitely see them expanding their kids area. So that's what I think Great Escape will get. Maybe like DC Super Friends, Bugs Bunny Boomtown, something cool like that would be really nice for Great Escape. And now Darien Lake. I could see another coaster on this list, but it's not from the Screamscape article. A mock Power Splash. I think Six Flags is going to clone these things like hell. I think we're going to see one at pretty much every single Six Flags park. Cedar Fair, when they were doing their Tech Dark Ride, said it was going to be like that, but I actually think this will happen. I think every single Six Flags park will eventually get a mock Power Splash. So now, let's get on to our next park. So for our next park, we're going to be heading up to St. Louis for Six Flags St. Louis. This park is often very neglected. People keep on saying like RMC Boss or a Raptor. I still don't see that coming this year. I don't see them getting nothing, but I see them getting a kids area. Six Flags loves to clone their kids area, and it could definitely use a better kids area. So maybe they'll get a coaster with it too. Who knows? So nothing much to say about Six Flags St. Louis. Six Flags America? Absolutely nothing. I don't think they're getting anything at all. They're a very neglected Six Flags park. They're not towards the top of the chain. And they might have been getting some small new addition, but why even pay for that now because of the pandemic? They can't really afford it. So now let's get into one of the best Six Flags parks, Great America. And Great America, a lot of people think a coaster's coming, like RMC Eagle or something. I don't see him getting RMC Eagle. I could see him doing that eventually and maybe relocating Goliath to somewhere. I could actually see it be relocated to Great Adventure. I love Great Adventure, so I actually do think it would work being relocated there. Put in the old Rolling Thunder spot, it would fit perfectly, and they could use a wooden coaster like that. But there's no way that's happening. I still don't really see RMC Eagle happening at all, because they already have an RMC. So, I basically think that this park will actually get a coaster. But what will be an RMC Raptor or an S&S Air Launch coaster? It will be a mock Power Splash. Yes, I'm predicting 2 mock Power Splashes for this thing. I think Six Flags is going to clone these things like hell. And we're going to see like 1 million of these things around the world. And it's going to be the next Boomerang, pretty much. An S&S 43 spin. So now, we have 4 parks left. So let's get into them. So our next park is Six Flags Over Georgia. And right around Atlanta. And they do get a pretty high attendance, so I could definitely see them actually getting something. But what could it be? What could they actually get? I think they will be also getting a mock Power Splash. As I said before, I think they're going to clone these things. I see Six Flags Over Georgia getting a mock Power Splash because they did show a teaser with the Waves Ride the Wave. So they could call it like Wave Rider or something, or whatever they want to call it. So I could actually see them getting this. This I am 100% sure about. They are getting a mock Power Splash. So now, 3 parks remaining. So Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I think they canceled Sidewinder Safari or whatever it's called. I'm not exactly sure about that. So I could see him getting something. It's not going to be huge, but it's going to be something. The first of its kind, Vekoma. What's wrong with me today? Zamperla Nebulous. These actually look like pretty good rides, so I could definitely see him getting a Vekoma, a Zamperla Nebulous. It looks like a very interesting ride to watch. So I could definitely see him getting this. So now let's get into the 2 parks that I think will be getting the 2 best editions. Six Flags New England and Six Flags Magic Mountain. First, let's go to Six Flags New England. So, based off the Screenscape article, Six Flags New England could either get an S&S launch coaster or an RMC Raptor. Now let's see what they could use. They could use a launch coaster. They don't have a launch coaster, and a single rail coaster would be very different. But I am going to predict the S&S Air Launch Coaster. I think this could be a clone of Max Force. I think it actually will be a clone of Max Force, maybe with one small minor difference. But Max Force is a good ride, and I think Six Flags New England could have one of the best coaster lineups in the world now. If all they need to do is fix Superman's restraints, they have a fantastic lineup. S&S, they have Wicked Cyclone and Superman. Awesome lineup. So the last park is the park I think will be getting the biggest addition. Six Flags Magic Mountain will finally get their 20th coaster, an RMC Raptor. I think this could be very similar to Jersey Devil, but I don't think it's going to be the exact same. I think it's going to have many similar elements as Jersey Devil, but I also think it's going to be like 91 degrees and all that. It's going to be longer, it's going to be faster, it's going to be taller. So I think it could be very similar to Jersey Devil. It'll probably open before Jersey Devil too, which is just kind of funny. But I think that'll wrap it up for my Six Flags 2021 predictions. Comment down below if you like what you see. Comment down below if you think I was wrong with any of my predictions, or you think you could have predicted it better. Any of your predictions, comment that down too. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.